Welcome everyone on this wonderful day as I have the privilege to talk about some of the best news I've seen in a long time. Nintendo blocks popular YouTubers' homebrew Switch videos. I love it. I love that Nintendo's being more proactive. I love that they're being more aggressive in defending their copyright and shutting this nonsense down, because this is another move in a series of moves that Nintendo has been making over the last couple months and years. So we had this. Nintendo ROM site owners must pay $12 million following lawsuits. So Nintendo successfully defending their ROMs and also successfully getting laws enforced in Japan. You can now go to you can now go to jail for hacking your Nintendo Switch in Japan. I want to see this go from Japan to the rest of the world, especially like North America, Europe, major markets where it can be enforced. We need to get the piracy out of there. We need to get the illegal modification. We need to get the homebrew. Just make it about honest gaming and really enforce that when you buy something copyrighted, even if it's a console, even if it's software, that you still have to follow the terms set by the people you are purchasing it from. The license agreement must have more power because of how abused these things have been. And also, I love the people crying about it. This guy, 200,000 subscribers, ceasing his coverage of Nintendo Switch homebrew. Thank God. Yes. Anything to even slow down the amount of people getting access to hacking their Switch. According to the YouTuber, Nintendo issued copyright takedowns on almost every single video, claims it's unfair as it's fair use. His videos aren't fair use, we're going to talk about that. To discuss about homebrewing and modding, which is 100% open source and illegal. This guy's an idiot. Nintendo's never made anything of theirs open source for the consoles. So it's not open source, and the legality is incredibly questionable, especially when you look at the videos, because the homebrew itself is not illegal. Also, having emulators is not illegal. The ROMs and a lot of other things start getting into illegal territory or gray areas and stuff like that. But when you look at the videos that were taken down, homebrew on Nintendo Switch 2019 update, full speed Nintendo 64, Half-Life, and more. So actually running illegal ROMs and showing that as a part of the content. That's why it got hit. Not all of his Nintendo Switch hacking videos have gotten hit, but it's the ones that are showing game piracy and also, you know, just unauthorized use of the software on top of that. So, also, I'm really happy there's other copyright disputes and stuff. So, Nintendo, I guess, either just taking a copyright dispute or straight up blocking all these videos worldwide. I want to see this happen for more of these kinds of videos, because I was going through it. You know, there's still guides coming up. We still have that. And, like, the censored about this. You know, I hate how this video is performing too. 8.3 thousand likes. We need many more dislikes than that, because the amount of entitlement that we've been seeing from the modern generation, the acceptance of cheating, hacking, illegal modification, it's just outrageous because people want to be spoiled. They want to take their Nintendo Switch and do whatever they want with it when they shouldn't have the right to. So, and he's not being censored by Nintendo. Nintendo is enforcing their copyright. And I like that this is going onto YouTube, that it's blocked worldwide. YouTube, they don't want to really get into this dispute. And the thing is, I feel like this is starting to build a much larger case for Nintendo to start pushing these other things outside of Japan. I really want, like, because that's the biggest problem right now when it comes to, you know, digital millennia, copyright, and what's it called? Like all these like weird millennia age acts about piracy and homebrew, but protecting your software, but your right to reproduce and things like that. No, because there are some things that you can get away with that aren't illegal. And that's kind of like what hackers tout and stuff. But the problem is, the end game is, when you're teaching these things, it ends in piracy. Because you can have homebrew, but pretty much all the files that are used on homebrew end up being illegal. The custom firmware itself isn't, but what ends up happening pretty much is, especially when like it's used by audiences like this that are supporting it. You know, they're going to use it to play ROMs on the Nintendo Switch that are not legal to be played. They're going to be using it to download and play pirated games of Nintendo Switch titles, which is going to cost the sales and stuff. And again, it's not open source. They shouldn't have access to this. And then they're modding it on a way that breaks Nintendo's terms of service, and then it's disseminating that information, which also is why you're getting copyright dinged. So that's the thing. I feel like it's a lot of misinformation, because the people that are hacking and homebrewing, they're trying to tout it as, oh, it's safe, to keep themselves safe and legal, but then that's misinforming the audience, because yeah, that, like, it's kind of like the misunderstanding between having an emulator is legal, but having the ROM is where it is illegal. People are like, well, if emulators are legal, everything's legal, right? And then that's where Nintendo is making more and more cases for themselves and building up that copyright stuff. So I love it. The thing is, I think that this definitely needs to be enforced, needs some kind of legal structure about it, instead of all this wishy-washy gray area. Because it's not like a set-in-stone kind of thing, like a lot of hackers would make it out to be, and it ends up just having detriment to everyone involved that isn't out there risking the legality of modifying the Nintendo Switch and disrespecting developers, disrespecting copyright and stuff like that. So the people that are moral, that want to just follow the rules and be good people, you know, they're put at a disadvantage, and then things get really messy from there. But, you know, there's so much you can't do. You know, you can't lease, rent, decompile, disassemble, distribute, offer for sale, create derivative works, any portion of the software, bypass, modify, defeat, tamper with, circumvent functions or protections of the console. This is the specific Nintendo Switch EULA as well, so that all applies here. Circumvent any other functions unless otherwise permitted by law, and this is like the gray area. But Nintendo's like, we don't want you doing any of this. And I think that that's what really needs to be enforced. And hopefully with like all the piracy that's happened of Pokemon games, Super Smash Bros. Ended up getting leaked and pirated early, that Nintendo could make like a very strong case with all this going down, like taking it down, showing how these tutorials work, showing how an overwhelming use case of homebrew is going to end up in illegal activity, that it ends up getting it shut down. That'd be pretty awesome. And then I was going just like through it, the modders beware, so Review Tech USA, Nintendo also kind of just putting their foot down on anything. And the thing is, like, this isn't being challenged legally, so Nintendo is gaining that ground, which gets me more and more excited when I see them now blocking YouTube videos. Because the thing is, Nintendo are the good guys here, that they recently just made their creator program disappear, and they made it to where you can just upload Nintendo content. So trying to make this like outrage against Nintendo when the end result is just pirating your games and using illegal software for the console, or unauthorized software on the console, you know, like, that's just trying to be like, oh, Nintendo's a bad guy. They always shut down the little man. They're overbearing on their copyright and stuff. It's like, how about you just play their games as intended, or you just skip it all together? I wouldn't care if we lost, like, let's say if half the user base has a modded Switch, or half the user base is in favor of hacking and cheating and stuff like that. They could just go away. And I wouldn't care. I don't think Nintendo cares as well, because that's a lot of lost sales that those people aren't even contributing towards Nintendo or anything like that. It is a console sale, and hackers actually have multiple consoles and stuff, which is why I love this case right here. So it would appear that several Switch users have found themselves receiving online bans from Nintendo after attempting to hack into console's operating system. But this one's funny. My non-hack Switch. Wonder what that's about. So yeah, Shiny Quagsire actually losing Nintendo services on his non-hacked Switch because he's a known hacker. The Nintendo ninjas are out there. I feel like they could be a bit more proactive in like shutting down leaked gameplay and piracy and early hacking and stuff, but they're out there making moves. They have names. They're keeping they're keeping an eye on what's going on. So they were able to do it through this guy's Nintendo account, that any Switch that was linked to the account, even if it was an unmodified, unhacked Switch, is also getting banned from the services. So I mean, like, I think that that's kind of where the legal thing comes into play, where it's like, yeah, you can have a Switch and you can hack it, but then Nintendo can shut you out from absolutely everything, and that just kind of shows that there's nothing beneficial, or not. I can't say nothing, because that's when people are like, but then there's like save data backup. But in, you know, in the 99% of use cases, it's going to be for malicious, copyright infringing, you know, what is it that Nintendo is like, some kind of unfair competition law. You know, it's going to be unfair competition, stuff like that. Just illegal activity is going to be used off of the homebrew, because that's what pretty much everyone's going to do with it, especially the consumer that's just looking up these guides to find out how to get a game early or anything like that. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, didn't take down all the videos, but I'm happy to see a lot of moves being made. Homebrew, and again, like you can see here, that they're not all taken down because they're doing it differently, which is why this guy's crying about it, I feel, is completely unjustified. Reactions to take down a mix. Some community support Nintendo's move, as homebrew could open door piracy, you know, claim it's going too far. It's definitely fair. It needs to be fair. Isn't a strong enough word to describe what is happening, and Nintendo needs to push it further and I'll still consider it fair and stuff like that. So yeah, it's also because you have to look at the content going around it. This guy's like, these ones are just kind of talking about the CFW itself and the jailbreak and the, you know, whatever is being run, you know, not how to take it to the next level, just installing it, and then we'll see what happens from there. Also, I guess it goes on views, stuff like that. Switch emulators tested. So apparently not every video. Nintendo banned my Nintendo Switch. Awesome, you deserved it. And stuff like that. So yeah, we're still in a gray area, but I like how we're moving forward. I don't think it's going to progress fast enough to like prevent Pokemon Sword and Shield from being hacked, but this is a really good move for the future, and I think this is definitely like a discussion that's going to have to come up. Copyright's outdated. You know, people will be like, well, it's not enforced by laws and stuff like that, so it's legal, but then you can see like outdated copyright laws being abused left and right on all sides, and then that's still something that still needs to evolve. So everything's outdated. You know, technology has progressed too fast. The people that are enforcing the laws, they're like too old and ignorant to what's going on in the world. So if they understand like this is where those laws that people are hiding behind the hacking are going and progressing into, then it just needs to be shut down or be less of like this wide arbitrary thing and have very specific use cases and very specific definitions, which are lacking right now. So that's kind of it. Hopefully Nintendo is the one that makes the big push for precedent. Maybe they even collab with Sony and Microsoft, and we see some big moves in the next couple of years to where you go to jail if you homebrew. You go to jail if you hack or something, or maybe even stronger enforcement of piracy because it's gotten out of control right now, especially in this like ever-growing digital era. So hope you guys enjoy the video. I certainly enjoy the news. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.